register began to appear. 100 years later, we have even better computer-driven machines which track stock, change prices, and automatically reorder. Meanwhile, the reinsurance industry has failed to embrace man's drive for progress. The reinsurance industry today would be as familiar to practitioners from the 1800s as it is to modern underwriters. An underwriter or broker from 1800 would settle nicely into today's business. That is, until now. For the reinsurance industry, pivot point changes everything. Soon it will be understood that the period before pivot point was as dark as the caveman period was before the abacus. Come and see for yourself if you don't believe. After a demonstration, you will understand what is possible.
In a story that's just crossing the wires coming out of the Detroit Auto Show, General Motors has announced that LG Chemical, which is a South Korean manufacturer of batteries, has been selected as the battery producer and provider for the battery for the Chevrolet Volt. The batteries will be produced in South Korea and assembled into their casings at a plant in Michigan. This is potentially a very big contract for LG Chem, so there's some news there. There's some bad weather in the U.S. We'll run through it as quickly as we can. Over the weekend, the bad weather in New England caused a pileup on Interstate 93 that involved 59 vehicles. About 12 people ended up being sent to the hospital yesterday morning. The highway was, of course, shut down in the northbound lanes. None of the injuries seemed to be life-threatening, but it took emergency crews several hours to clear up the mess. The northern plains of the United States are right now freezing. There are blizzard warnings posted across a number of states as bitterly cold air and snow threatens the region. Arctic air is dipping down from Canada and spreading snow in Montana, the Dakotas, and Minnesota. It's heading into the Midwest, and by the end of this week here in the New York area, the lowest temperatures of the season are expected. Over Friday and Saturday, it's expected that the thermometer will not go above 10 degrees, and early in the morning it might be below zero. In Fiji, out in the Southwest Pacific, the government of Fiji has declared a state of emergency and imposed curfews after the worst flooding in more than a decade have left nearly 6 people dead and forced 10,000 people from their homes. More severe rain is expected today. The government is saying that the curfews are in place to safeguard lives and property and to prevent criminal elements from taking advantage of the flood-hit areas. Sugarcane crops were destroyed as rivers burst their banks, and hundreds of foreign tourists were stranded in resorts after flights were disrupted in airports. Now the government is saying that the region faces a health risk as people may be drinking water contaminated by the flooding. Floodwaters had reached as high as 10 feet. Further to the southwest, Malaysia, police say that monsoon rains have led to worsening floods in eastern Sarawak State on Borneo, forcing more than 7,000 people to be evacuated. The rains have stopped for now, but high tides may sweep inland, causing flooding rivers to rise further and inundate low-lying areas today and tomorrow. Extensive thunderstorms and flooding are common in eastern Malaysia during the monsoon season. And we might as well bring this one to the finish. This is the ongoing saga of the pirates. If we pull up this ship, you can see, if you look closely, on the right-hand side of the screen is a parachute. Attached to the parachute is $3 million in cash. The parachute was dropped down onto the Sirius Star on Friday to provide the ransom that had been negotiated with the pirates. The pirates subsequently left the ship, and the ship is now out on the open sea steaming home. However, 6 members of the group of Somali pirates apparently are reported to have drowned along with their share of the $3 million ransom. The pirates were among 8 men whose rubber raft overturned off the coast of Kenya in a storm after they left the Sirius Star following the 2-month standoff. According to Mohammed Saeed, the spokesman for the pirates, quote, 6 of our boys perished at sea while coming from the released Saudi tanker. He said the small boat that was carrying those killed was overloaded and at high speed. They were afraid of a chase from outside invaders, that would be foreign naval forces sent to protect against piracy, who invaded Somalia waters. The group's $300,000 share of the ransom was also lost. 3 pirates reached shore after swimming for several hours. According to the spokesperson for the pirate, there has been human and monetary loss, but what makes us feel sad is that we don't still have the dead bodies of our relatives. 4 are still missing and 1 washed up on shore. The Sirius Star, of course, was carrying crude oil valued at about $100 million when it was hijacked on the 15th of November. One of the pirates' bodies did in fact wash up on shore, and the pirate that appeared on the beaches of Kenya apparently had some $150,000 in currency on his person. So there possibly is some sort of justice in the world, but keep in mind that there are well over 100 ships still being quarantined by the Somali pirates, and ransoms are being negotiated for them. So we welcome everybody back. I know many people are back at work today after a very extended holiday period. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. If not, we'll see you tomorrow.